You've never seen a coup before.
Rippity-boppity!
No. This is great.
Descendants May 6th had just taken a turn nobody was prepared for, because the biggest question coming out of Wicked Wonderland isn't what happens to Wonderland anymore. It's what happens to Pink. The moment Pink discovered that mysterious object, the entire story suddenly opened a door to something much darker, and if the clues surrounding Neverland are pointing where we think they are, then Descendants 6 could completely change the future of this franchise. Disney has not confirmed every detail, but the pieces are starting to line up in a way that's getting impossible to ignore. A new world, a dangerous legacy, Captain Hook, Hazel's connection to her father, and a mysterious power that could push Pink further than Chloe ever went. And here's the part that makes this even more shocking: Pink's fate may already have been hinted at before Descendants 6 has even entered production. So what exactly did Pink find? Why could Neverland be the next destination? And is Captain Hook really connected to the darker secret waiting at the center of this story? Let's break down everything we know, because the answer could change the entire Descendants universe. The ending of Wicked Wonderland looked like it was finally giving everyone the happy ending they had been fighting for. Red and Chloe repaired their friendship, the Queen of Hearts was rescued, Maddox was captured, and the chaos surrounding the Pocket Watch finally seemed to be over. After everything these characters had endured, it felt like the story had reached the perfect stopping point. But then Pink found something. That one moment changed the meaning of the entire ending because the object she discovered was clearly important enough to make Chess react with fear. And that reaction is what makes this mystery so interesting. Chess isn't someone who panics easily. He has survived the chaos of Wonderland, watched powerful people manipulate time, and seen firsthand what the Pocket Watch can do. So if his reaction to whatever Pink found was that serious, then we're probably not talking about an ordinary magical object. We're talking about something connected to a much bigger threat. And this is where Pink's fate becomes the biggest question surrounding Descendants 6. Throughout Wicked Wonderland, we watched Chloe get pushed toward the darkest version of herself because of doubt, jealousy, and emotional pain. Red eventually managed to bring her back by admitting her mistakes and reminding Chloe that their bond was stronger than everything trying to tear them apart. But what happens if Pink faces something similar without Red being there to stop it? That's the possibility that makes Descendants 6 feel completely different. Pink has already been surrounded by characters connected to villains, power, and dangerous magic. If the mysterious object is capable of influencing whoever touches it, then Pink could become the perfect target. And there is another detail that makes this even more interesting. The cast has already expressed interest in taking this story into darker territory, including the possibility of Pink becoming evil. That doesn't confirm that Pink will actually become a villain, but when you place that idea next to the ending of Wicked Wonderland, it starts to feel less like a random possibility and more like a direction the franchise could realistically explore. Imagine the emotional impact of Red discovering that her sister has become the very thing she spent the entire previous movie trying to save Chloe from. This time, Red wouldn't be fighting to bring a friend back. She would be fighting to bring her own sister back. And if the story really does move to Neverland, the danger could become even bigger because Pink wouldn't be facing this darkness alone. Somewhere in that world is a character whose entire identity is built around manipulation, revenge, and power, Captain Hook. If Hook becomes involved with Pink and the mysterious object, then the ending of Wicked Wonderland wasn't the conclusion at all. It was the beginning of the biggest conflict this franchise has created yet, and this is where the Neverland theory starts becoming much more interesting, because taking the Descendants story to Neverland wouldn't just give the franchise a brand new location. It would completely change the kind of danger these characters are facing. Wonderland was unpredictable, chaotic, and filled with magic that could twist reality itself. Neverland would be different. It's a world built around pirates, hidden motives, lost children, dangerous legends, and a villain who has been waiting for the right opportunity to take control. And if Captain Hook really becomes part of Descendants 6, then his connection to Hazel could become one of the most emotional stories in the entire movie. Hazel Hook has spent her life carrying the name of one of the most infamous villains in the story, but she has never had the chance to truly confront the person behind that name. She knows what Captain Hook represents, but knowing someone's reputation is very different from meeting your own father. That's why a Neverland storyline could finally give Hazel the moment fans have been waiting for. But there's a problem. What if Hazel doesn't meet the father she imagined? What if Captain Hook isn't interested in repairing their relationship at all? What if he's more interested in the mysterious power Pink is carrying? That possibility changes everything. Because Hook wouldn't need to become another villain who simply wants to destroy the heroes. He could become something much more dangerous, someone who understands exactly how to manipulate them. And Pink could be the perfect person for him to target. After what happened with Chloe, the franchise has already established that emotional weakness can become a doorway to darkness. Pink may not start Descendants 6 as a villain. In fact, that's what could make her story so powerful. She could begin the movie trying to understand what she found, trying to protect everyone around her, and believing that she can control whatever power has come into her hands. But little by little, that power could begin changing her decisions. And once Hook realizes what is happening, he could use it to his advantage. That's where the darker secret might finally come into focus. The real threat may not be Neverland itself. It may be whatever is hidden behind the object Pink discovered. If it has a connection to the same kind of magic that once allowed the pocket watch to alter reality, then Descendants 6 could be introducing a completely different level of power. And if Hook gets access to it, he wouldn't just be fighting Red and her friends. He could potentially threaten the balance between every kingdom we've seen so far. Suddenly, the story becomes much bigger than saving one person. Red could be searching for Pink while Hazel is forced to deal with her father. Chloe is trying to prove that she's no longer controlled by her fears, and Lewis could find himself caught between helping Red and dealing with his own unresolved family problems. Everyone would have their own reason for entering Neverland, but they would all be moving toward the same dangerous mystery. And that is exactly what could make this sequel feel bigger than anything before it. The heroes aren't simply chasing a villain anymore. They're chasing someone they love, while trying to understand a power they don't fully understand, inside a world controlled by a villain who knows how to turn family against family. And if Pink really is being pulled toward the darkness, then the most important question won't be whether Red can defeat her. It will be whether Red can reach her before Captain Hook convinces Pink that the darkness is exactly where she belongs. But there is one possibility that makes Pink's story even more disturbing, because what if she doesn't simply become a temporary villain? What if Descendants 6 is actually building toward Pink becoming one of the franchise's most important antagonists? That would completely change the way we look at everything that happened in Wicked Wonderland. Chloe's transformation showed us how quickly someone can fall when their emotions are manipulated, but Pink could take that idea much further. She could start with the best intentions, believing that the mysterious object can help her protect the people she loves, only to slowly realize that the power inside it is changing the way she thinks. And the terrifying part is that she might not even notice it happening. At first, the changes could be small. Pink becomes more secretive. She starts hiding things from Red. She stops trusting Chloe. She becomes convinced that nobody else understands what she's capable of. Then the decisions become bigger, and suddenly the person Red is trying to save isn't the same Pink she remembers. That's where the emotional stakes could become enormous, because Red has already proven that she will never give up on someone she loves. But this time, saving Pink could require Red to confront something much harder than an ordinary villain. She would have to confront the possibility that Pink might actually choose the darkness herself. And if Captain Hook is standing behind her, encouraging every one of those choices, then the situation could become almost impossible to control. Hook could tell Pink that she doesn't need anyone else. He could convince her that Red is holding her back. He could turn the same doubts that once affected Chloe into something much more powerful. And if Pink believes him, then the relationship between the sisters could become the emotional heart of the entire movie. This is also where Hazel Hook could become incredibly important. Imagine Hazel finally meeting her father after years of wondering what kind of person he really is, only to discover that he's helping destroy the person she has grown close to. Suddenly, Hazel isn't just dealing with her own family history. She's being forced to choose what kind of person she wants to become. Does she follow her father because he's family, or does she stand against him because she knows what he's becoming? That choice could mirror everything happening with Pink. Both characters could be caught between family and friendship, between the people they came from and the people they have chosen to love. And that would fit perfectly with the deeper theme running through this franchise. The Descendants stories have always been about whether children are destined to repeat the mistakes of their parents. But Neverland could push that question further than ever before. Captain Hook may believe that Hazel is destined to become like him simply because she's his daughter. Pink could be told that darkness is already inside her because of everything that happened before. But the real question is whether either of them accepts that destiny. And this could be where Red's role becomes even more important. She won't just be the hero trying to defeat the next villain. She could become the person who refuses to believe that Pink is beyond saving. Even if everyone else thinks Pink has crossed the line, Red could keep searching for the part of her sister that is still there.